Okay, so I wasn't quite ready to start this video, but the start button started. So here it is. I wanted to talk a bit about isolation versus solitude, and how living with a chronic illness has caused me to encounter more isolation than the average human being. So there is solitude is the positive aspect of being alone, and isolation is the negative aspect of being alone. Being chronically ill often puts people in a situation where they are somewhat or mostly housebound or bound to certain areas like the couch all day, or if it's a bad day, then being in bed all day. And so there's limitations as far as getting out and interacting with other humans, and this can be particularly impactful when you either live alone or maybe live with a roommate situation, but it's a different dynamic when you don't live in a sense with like close relationships. I have a roommate, but he's been gone for 2 months in a inpatient rehab setting. My roommate is a very kind person, and even with a drinking problem, he's never had a bad side. So that stereotype of people who are alcoholics is definitely not true. And he suffers from severe depression, and so I'm expecting him back in 2 days from a 2-month stay, 4 hours from here. And so the past 2 months, I have essentially lived alone with my cat, Ethan. Having Ethan, it has been the difference between like me being able to hold it together, being here, and not. So having a companion animal can make a huge difference in helping with feelings of isolation. But as a human being, we do long for human contact, and so a lot of my human contact is through friends I've never met in person, who I've met in support communities for people with various chronic illnesses, and also things that are categorized in the mental health arena as well. So so I'm grateful for that, and it is a source of combating these friends, these people, these live humans who I just have, only communicated with either through text or phone or video call, or groups as well. There's group formats that they also participate in. They're very real, and it is helpful. However, there's that longing for, we're, from what I understand, we're social creatures as human beings, and we have that longing to have in person, what that little acronym IRL, in real life, that that human contact, and so that explains the isolation factor. And then there's the solitude factor, which is actually, I just watched part of a Joe Dispenza video about how apparently there's research on women who live alone, are actually, have brain waves that are differing in terms of research and testing, that they are more in a type of headspace to be emotionally autonomous, that they don't rely on others instinctively on a day-to-day basis, for emotional feedback from others. And this is something that I think that people who live in with a spouse, or with children long term, I think that that's what they're referring to, is an emotional codependence factor. And he also mentioned something interesting having to do with individuality, and he said that that women who live alone have lower inflammatory markers because they aren't compromising themselves in terms of their individuality. They're not putting energy into matching someone else's energy, if that makes sense. And I absolutely understand that, because I've been through dating experiences where I felt like a lot of my energy, which I have very little as a person with a chronic illness, and I haven't even gotten into what chronic illness I have, but fatigue and a lack of energy is my most prominent symptom. Insomnia is kind of like a really close second, but fatigue is my predominant symptom. It's not my only symptom, but it's my most impactful one. And so I don't have much energy to begin with. And I have actually been in dating situations where I felt like I had to put in an effort to try to match someone else's energy, if that makes sense. And so it does take up energy to try to do that in a relationship. And so I think that speaks volumes in terms of the importance of compatibility, and how being either single with the right social connections, or being in a good relationship, is probably so important to a quality of life factor. So I have chronic Lyme, which is very controversial, unfortunately, and a dual diagnosis of chronic fatigue syndrome. And the only hope for treatment I have is the chronic Lyme aspect of my illness. And even then, you're really only given a chance of going into remission. It's no guarantee if you choose one of the, I want to say there's probably thousands of different treatment modalities when you mix everything together with the supplements and the herbs and the antibiotics and um, some things that I guess you would classify as state of the art therapies and whatnot. And I won't get too much into that because this video is really just about it's about it's about how being alone can manifest at different times as isolation and at certain times as solitude. So it's not all good or all bad, but I think when during the times when you feel more isolated than you feel a sense of solitude, probably that's when you need to reach out to other people and and form close relationships. So human connection is important, and maybe I will flip the camera around and show you guys a picture of Finn, who's sitting by my feet. He's such a good little boy. I got him November 1st, 2024. So let's see. I've had him 3 months today, actually. And he is got the right personality for someone who he's like he's not a stage 5, he's more like a stage 3 clinger in a good way. He tends to want to be next to me all the time, and I spend a really good portion of my time at home. And so I guess in that sense, he's a lucky cat. He has me around. And the nice thing about a companion animal when you have a physical limitation is that they aren't they're not disappointed when you have to spend all day in bed. They will just cuddle up next to you without complaints. And so anyway, this is probably my first video that I'm uploading to YouTube that is just myself talking on a certain topic. I may have put out some other videos. Oh, well, no, actually, I wrote an article a couple of years ago that I talked about, and I may have published that. So it's possible I have a few others floating around there, but this is the first one I've made in a couple of years, and it's the first one where I'm really just talking on a topic that impacts me personally, and I feel like I've been inspired by seeing people just like myself just creating a video and speaking what's on their mind, and it being well received. So so I guess we'll see what happens. Even if this just reaches one person, and and that one person feels like it reached them and spoke to them, then it will be worth it. So anyway, I'm gonna end this right about 50. I was hoping for 10 minutes. But anyway, maybe more videos in the future.